What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Twisted 20s. This is a podcast dedicated to reminding you of your God-given purpose through personal testimonies, trials, and personal revelations. I believe that each and every single one of us was created with a purpose for a purpose, and it is up to us to align with it. I'm your host, T. Louise. Welcome to the first episode of July. Y'all, I'm so excited. Last month's episodes, was it hard for y'all? Because it was really hard for me. Like, I knew that I needed to get that information out though. Like, I knew that I had to encourage y'all. Like, if not now, then when was like the sum episode of the whole rant of being in purpose, moving sluggish. Like, it was just a sum. I just needed to sum everything up. And in that last episode of the last month, I just wanted to ask you guys that question, because oftentimes we move so sluggish. Oftentimes we take our time. And sometimes we take our time because we are so busy comparing ourselves. Okay? Before we get into this episode, just a few announcements. If you guys would love to be a co-host on Twisted 20s, please email me a 1 to 2 minute video at submissions@twisted20s.org. And you can also contact me for reviews. If you guys want to send me topics that you would like for me to talk about, you can also send that to me at submissions@twisted20s.org as well. I'm trying to think if I have any more updates for you guys. Oh, yes, I do actually. First of all, I just want to say shout out to God as the CEO, because y'all, Twisted 20s has grown from literally 1,500 plays to almost 1,600 plays in a week. And so I just want to say shout out to God. First of all, thank you to him, but I also want to give thanks to every single individual that is listening, every single individual that has subscribed. I want to say thank you to you. I appreciate you and I love you, and I would love to hear from you, y'all. Like, please email me, contact me on social media, whatever platform you can reach me on. I want to hear from you. I want to hear how Twisted 20s is impacting your life. And shout out to you for listening to today's episode. And if you guys have not subscribed to Twisted 20s, you can subscribe right there to whatever platform you are listening to Twisted 20s on. I'm so excited for this month's episodes because it will talk about a lot about comparison, but also calling and bringing out the person that God has created you to be. So I'm so excited for today's episode, and I hope that you are too. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get into today's podcast episode. All right, y'all. So I wanted to open up this episode with the definition of compare. And there were a lot of definitions, but I felt like this definition was really good for this episode. And the definition is: compare is to estimate, to measure, or to note the similarity or dissimilarity between. And that could mean between situations, between people, between circumstances, whatever it may be, whatever you're comparing, that is what compare means. And so in my time of figuring out what I wanted to hit on in this episode, I had a revelation about 3 ways that we compare ourselves to others. And because we live in a what's the word I'm looking for? In a area or in a era of social media, it's so much easier for us to compare ourselves to others. So 3 ways that we can compare ourselves to others, and I am guilty of this. I have done this before. It's financial status, social media status, and material status. Financial status, social media status, and material status. Because of these 3 things, and because of social media, we get to see the other 2 things: materials and finances. All because of social media. So when we see people on social media and we see them living the life that we desire to have, living the life that we wish we had, living the life that we could have had, but we made a mistake along the way and we messed it up. So now we start comparing our lives to their life, not even knowing what they did to get there. And that's really the downfall to comparison, is we're only on the outside looking in when we are comparing our lives to someone else's life. We don't know what happened behind the scenes. Comparison traps you because it causes you not to appreciate you, your gifts, your talents, the place and space that you are currently in. It causes you to lose focus of self-focus. It causes you to stay in a cycle of doubt, fear, and insecurity. When I realized this, it really hit me like a train, a Mack truck, because I've had so many experiences in my life where I've compared myself. I remember the first time that I really beat myself up with comparison. And that was when I dropped out of college. And all my friends were still in school. They graduated years later. I was like, man, I could have been graduating. If I had did this, if I hadn't done this, I would have still been in school. I would have graduated with them. And that may not be true. It may not have even worked out how I thought it would have worked out or wanted it to work out. After my business failed, I started comparing myself to other people that were doing things that I wanted to do. I started comparing my t-shirt brand to other people's t-shirt brands. When I first joined Girl Mob and I went on the trip to Thailand, I was the only person in the room that didn't have a business. And I was comparing myself. Here I was in the room with multimillionaire women. And I was nowhere near the level that they were at. And I started comparing myself. And when I started comparing myself, it opened the door to doubt. I started doubting my abilities. I started doubting myself. I started doubting what I was capable of. I started having fear that I would never amount to what they were. I started fearing that I would never get into the place that they were. But then I started realizing later on down the road, it's like God would have never placed me in the room with those type of people if it wasn't meant for me to be in rooms like that. There's a reason why I was the youngest female in the room with no business. Everybody else in there had a business. Some of them had multi-million-dollar businesses. And I was the only one in there with no business. And I was the youngest one. There was a reason why God placed me in that room. But I couldn't get that at the moment because I was so busy comparing myself. I even have compared myself when it comes to building my personal brand. So, to give y'all a little backstory, this is something that I've really been going back and forth on. A couple years ago, Skittles told me, you really could do the plus size influencer model type of thing. And I'm like, no, that's not my thing. I don't really want to do that. Now, if y'all had asked me a few years ago before my mom passed, I would have been down to do it. And matter of fact, I was down to do it because I was a little fashionista, okay? Makeup, lipstick, like that was me. But ever since my mom passed away, I've been, more out of touch with myself, if that makes sense. And so I'm trying my best to find myself and work myself back into that fashionista, very bubbly, very outgoing type of girl. But it's been hard. And so when I'm on social media and I see other girls that look like me, other girls that may even be bigger than me, and they're killing it. I mean, they are killing it. They're getting brand deals. They're making money. They're traveling. They're doing all the things that I want to do. And then I started to compare myself. I started to think about, well, if I had did this back then, if I had made this choice, if I had done this, if I had did that. And the one thing that I've learned through comparison is that it doesn't matter what you did in the past. Every step in our life, every choice, every decision. I like to think of, I just finished playing a video game called Detroit, Become Human or something like that. And the game has several outcomes. I promise y'all I'm going somewhere with this. The game has several outcomes depending on what choices you made. I mean, the people who designed that game, they had to have had several hours of time being spent on this game. Several storylines, because it was so many choices that you could make, and each choice would lead to a certain road, a certain path. And so the reason why I brought that game up is, I say that because God knows what decisions we're going to make, but he also places us in a space where we have so many decisions, and each decision leads to a different road, a different path, a different storyline. But he already knows what choice we are going to make, because he is the author and the finisher. He knows our chapter 12 when we're in chapter 5. Now, say all that to say is, comparison gets you in a place of feeling like you can't obtain what someone else has. Comparison puts you in a place of feeling like your mistakes are too big, that you won't make it to the level that you saw yourself at. And I'm speaking from experience, because when I failed with my business, I thought that was it. I thought that I was never gonna start my business back up again. I thought that I would never learn marketing. I thought that I would never learn graphic design. I thought that I would never learn social media analytics. I thought that I would never learn any of these things. And I was willing to give up. And I did give up for a while. And to this day, I'm still sitting on probably 20 to 50 t-shirts that I have not sold because I gave up. But also because I took an idea that God gave me and I ran with it with my own knowledge. I didn't seek him. I didn't understand what the major comeback was really supposed to be. And that's why I'm still sitting on inventory, y'all. I ain't gonna even get in this, another topic for another day. I want you guys to really understand that when you compare yourself, you lose focus of who you are. You lose focus of your journey. Because our journey is specifically, I hope I'm saying this right, specifically designed for you. And when you compare yourself to someone else, you don't know what they've been through. Our pastor today at church, he said something about, someone said, you know what, Pastor, I want what you have. I want what you have. And he started calling out what he had. And I don't remember everything that he said, but I'll just, come up with my own example. If someone didn't know my story, if someone didn't know my life, and they said, man, I wish I had what you had. I wish I could do what you do. Or I wish that I could live like you. I wish I had everything that you had. And I would say, okay. You wish that you suffered from depression after your mom passed. You wish that you were homeless. You wish that you had to pee and boo-boo outside in the middle of the rain. You wish that you had to go flat broke. You wish that you had a friend that was really a Judas. You wish that people stabbed you in your back. You wish that your family did you dirty. That your family didn't support you. You wish that You wish all of these things, but nobody would know that. And so I say that because you don't know what someone has gone through. You don't know what someone is secretly going through behind closed doors. You only know what someone is sharing on social media. I've been very raw, very open, and relatable with you guys through my podcast. You guys, and I'm not saying you guys know everything, but I have shared a lot of intimate things on my podcast. And what I'm saying is, enjoy your journey. Enjoy your road to whatever promise, whatever vision, whatever purpose that God has given you. Enjoy your journey. Because someone else's journey is for them. And when you compare and when you long for something else that someone else has, you're not being appreciative of the journey that you're on. I did not appreciate the journey that I was on. After my mom passed, I was angry with God. I turned away from him for a long time. I did. I put other things before him. I created other idols because I was hurt. I was broken. But that was my journey. It's not the most beautiful journey. It's not the easiest journey. But it's mine. And it took me a long time to understand that. Nobody, and I mean nobody, is you. God designed you to be specifically you. He designed your life. He designed you when you were in your mother's womb. He designed you. When we compare ourselves, we lose focus of ourselves. We lose focus of the beauty in us. We lose focus of the beauty in us. You do not want to lose focus of beauty on the inside of you, because you are comparing yourself to someone that you don't even know. Some of us compare ourselves to people that we do know. I compared myself to Skittles before, which was really crazy because Skittles has years and years and years of building. And I still found small ways to compare myself to her because of my own insecurities, because of my own laziness. People oftentimes can compare themselves to someone or desire what someone else has, not even realizing that you really can have it yourself, but you're too lazy to do it. You don't believe in yourself. You're inconsistent. You're inconsistently consistent. You're being fearful. You're self-sabotaging your life with fear. But you're comparing yourself to someone who was consistent. You're comparing yourself to someone who never gave up. Some of us compare ourselves because we have a tainted identity, a tainted view of ourselves. Some of us compare ourselves because we're too busy rushing. We're not enjoying our journey. Some of us are comparing ourselves due to failure and setbacks. Some of us are comparing ourselves because we're being disobedient to God's will and plan for our life. Comparison is a trap. It traps you in a place of not being appreciative of who you are, not being appreciative of your journey that you are on. My mom used to say this thing before she passed away. She would say, I'm excited. I'm ready for my new journey. And I never understood that. And after she passed away, I really did figure that that's what she was talking about, because she was on her road to her new journey. But she was appreciative. She was thankful for the journey that she was about to embark on. You have to be appreciative of your journey. When we compare ourselves to other people, when we compare our journeys to other people's lives, what other people have, how much money someone else has, we're not being appreciative. It puts us in a place of losing gratitude for what we have, our gifts, talents. I have three prayer journal prompts today. And prayer journal prompt number 1 is, God revealed to me how comparison has caused me to stay stuck and not move. Comparison can put us in a place of double-mindedness. It can put us in a place of paralyzation. Is that the word? Okay, that's a good. Comparison can paralyze us because we're so busy comparing ourselves to someone else. Comparison feeds insecurity. It feeds fear. And it can cause us not to move. So prayer journal prompt number 1 is, God revealed to me how comparison has caused me to stay stuck and not move. Prayer number 2 is, God revealed to me how I have compared myself to others and how to get out of the cycle of comparison. Sometimes we don't think that we compare ourselves to others, but we are secretly and subconsciously doing it. When we scroll on social media and we say, oh man, I wish I could go there. Or I wish I had that. Or when you feel a sense of envy coming upon you, jealousy. You jealous because of something they have because you don't have it. That's comparison. So that prayer is, God revealed to me how I have compared myself to others and how to get out of the cycle of comparison. Because in order for you to get out of that cycle, you are going to understand how you're going to have to understand how you're comparing yourself. And the last one that I think is so important, because it will expose certain things, is, God revealed to me who I have compared myself to and why. You can't fix anything if you don't understand the root of the problem. I compare myself to people because I was really insecure. I compared myself to people because I had been lazy and I knew I had been lazy. And I also noticed that when I would compare myself to people, that I would get a little jealous. I was jealous because they had what I knew that I can have, but I didn't do the work to get there. I didn't do the work to have it. So if you don't remember any of them other prayers, I want you to remember this one. God, revealed to me who I have compared myself to and why. You have to understand the root cause of something. Just like women, y'all know what I'm talking about with waxing versus shaving. Shaving, you do not pull anything from the root. But when you wax, you pull it from its root. So sis, you need to figure out, why are you comparing yourself? Why do you feel jealous when you compare yourself? Why do you feel disappointed when you compare yourself? Why do you feel fearful when you compare yourself? Why do you feel angry when you compare yourself? And I guarantee you, you will figure it out. Because you're asking God to reveal these things to you. I don't have nothing else to say because I'm really learning when to speak and when not to speak. And I'm going to leave this episode at that. I really hope that this episode was valuable to each and every single one of you guys that are listening. This month's episodes are going to be hard. They're going to be hard, but they are going to be valuable, filled with fruit, and they are going to be important to your growth. I hope that you have enjoyed this episode, and I encourage you to pray those prayers. Ask God to reveal those things to you. Because nobody is you. God designed you to be specifically you. There is beauty in you. There are gifts, there are talents. There is a purpose on the inside of you. And so what, you failed? So what, you've been fearful for 2 years to start that business? So what, you dropped out of college? So what, you got pregnant at 18? And so what? So what, you didn't graduate high school? So what? So what, you still live at home with your parents? So what, you're struggling to make ends meet? That is your journey. That is your journey. And your journey has been designed specifically for you. I love you guys. Peace, love, and blessings. T. Louise.